Hello, this is Mr. Gear coming to you from his home. This evening when I came home, my wife said as I walked through the door, "Todd, I don't think the oven's working." And I said, "Well, what do you mean you don't think the oven's working?" She said, "Todd, I don't think the oven's heating up anymore." So I went over to the oven, and the first thing I did was I turned on the top of the stove to make sure that we're getting gas to the top of the stove, to the top burners. So what this shows me right now is that we're getting enough gas up through the gas lines, and the next thing I need to do is I need to open the door of the oven, and I need to remove the oven rack. I'll set this oven rack over here. All right. I'm going to turn the oven on to about 400, and then listen for it to come on. It takes a few seconds. Nothing seems to be working. Nothing seems to be working. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come over and I'm going to put it on broil. I'm going to put it on broil. And if you take a look in here, you're starting to see the igniter burner. It's starting to heat up. And when it reaches 2,300 degrees, it's going to ask the gas valve to turn on, and that's exactly what happened. So we know that this igniter works, and this glow bar is working with all of the flames that are shooting out of both sides. It looks very similar to a grill. All right, up here I'm going to turn off the broiler. We're going to wait to that. We're going to wait till this turns itself off. It takes a few seconds to turn itself off. All right, it turned itself off. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple screws off. Got those 3 screws off. And I'm going to take this bottom plate out. And then we're going to set this bottom plate over here. All right. Now, if you take a look inside, you have another glow bar and you have another igniter. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn the oven back on to about 400 degrees, and we're going to see if it comes off, if it doesn't. It definitely isn't glowing. It's definitely not working like the one that we had up top for the broiler. So I'm going to turn this off again. The off position. I'm going to shut the oven door for now. I'm going to move the stove out away from the wall. And one of the safety precautions that you have to do when you're working on a stove is you need to actually turn off the gas. And here's the gas knob, the gas lever, and you turn it off. So there's no gas getting to the stove at all now. But since we're going to be working with an electrical igniter, an ignition burner, we're going to unplug the electricity from the oven. Now what we're going to do is open the oven back up again. Open up the oven again. We're going to take another screw out from the glow bar. All right, and it should be, yeah. All right. Now we need to go down here underneath the oven, and there are a couple wires that need to be disconnected. The first one needs to be disconnected, this one over here on the igniter. And then this one with this connector here. And you pull them and they just pull apart. All right. And then there's another screw right here that needs to be removed. Actually, there's 2 of them, so we took both these out. And then this part, yes, there we go. So now we can open up the oven door one more time. And this glow bar and igniter should lift right out of there. All right. Now we're going to set the igniter on top of the oven here with the glow bar. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to run a test on the igniter burner to see if it is working properly. We know that it's not working properly, but what I have here is a continuity tester. And if this thing would work appropriately, this continuity button would light up and it would beep. I'm going to insert one prong here, and then I'm going to insert a second prong over here. Nothing's lighting up. There's a break in this igniter. There's a break in the system. So this igniter is definitely not any good. Now, when you disassemble the igniter burner from the glow bar, there's just two screws that hold this thing together, and you remove these two screws. All right, set the screw right there. Now we'll remove this. Igniter, and then over here I have a second igniter that I purchased from Amazon.com. And when I was exploring, or when I was looking at different prices for different igniters, there was a couple different igniters. There was the round igniter, and there was also like a flat igniter. And I got the igniter that was this same type as the one that came out. All right. Now, this new igniter, what I'm going to do first is I took it out of its package, and I need to make sure that it is good before I install it. So I'm going to take my continuity tester again, and I'm going to test both ends of the line. And again, if it's good, if this works properly, then it should glow. Yeah. Well, I think it was touching something else here. We need to make sure that it's not touching anything metal. Let's do it one more time. We'll run the test one more time. And it's working. It's a functioning igniter burner. Now, and to reinstall a new igniter burner, you do it the same way as you took the other one off. You place this here, and then you insert these two screws. These two screws. Alright, and the next step, what we're going to have to do is we're going to actually have to, I want to reuse this connector, so I'm going to have to take this, I can't take the connector off physically, but I'm going to have to cut this connector off, just like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a knife, and this is called sheathing, and you take this off and expose the wires just like this. All right, and this new one over here has an exposed wire already. So what you do is you take one of these, these little clips, and you insert each wire just like this. Oh, actually, we'll use one of these clips, and what we'll do is we'll insert this wire just like this, and we'll insert this wire just like this, and it's a connector like this, and then this thing right here folds down and clips into place Wait a minute. Hold it for a minute. We'll get this. Okay. Sometimes it needs to click. Shouldn't have used my teeth, but I just did. All right. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to open up the door to the oven again, and we're going to insert this. These pieces go down here just like this, and then we'll have to go underneath and then make the final connections. Okay. Here, let's take a look underneath here. And we'll put this over to where it needs to go. That sits back down here just like this. This goes just like this. Just like this. And what we do, okay, this goes here just like this. We need a little bit more space. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to actually modify this a little bit more to extend over. It's just not long enough. They didn't give us wire that was long enough to fit on the gas valve. All right, so I'm going to remove this one more time. I'm going to have to do one more. I'm going to have to do one more modification. I'm going to have to cut. One. This is from the old one. I'm going to have to do the exact same thing that I did before. I'm going to have to remove some sheathing. Just like that. Remove some sheathing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have to cut this just like this. Alright, then we have this right here. And then we can insert this into here. And this other one we can insert into here. We can insert into here. And then we can go like this again. And then squeeze this. Now, just like that. Like this. Alright, here we go. Alright, so we have this. Alright, now we'll reinsert it again. Reinsert it one more time. Then we'll look underneath. Alright, there we go. And then we'll go like this. And then we'll make another connection. Alright, there we have it connected. Alright, now I'm going to install one screw here, and then what we'll do is we're going to test this to see if it works, to see if our burner works. Alright, now I'm going to have to pull the stove out away from the wall again and plug it in. Plug it in, and then we'll test the burner igniter to see if it does work. Alright, the gas is on, the electric is on. Alright, now we're going to open the door to the oven again. We're going to turn it to 400. And we're going to take a look down there and see if the igniter works. A little closer. And you might want to move your hand too, because once it reaches like 2300 degrees, it turns itself on. And there we go. The igniter burner was bad, and we replaced the igniter burner and connected the new igniter burner up and started it up, and there it works. So my wife should be very happy now that we have a functional oven. Until next time, this is Mr. Gear.